The U.S. presidential election was on November 3rd, and it was a neck-and-neck race between Joe Biden of the Democratic Party and Donald Trump of the Republican Party. What is the difference between these two political parties? The ideological difference between the two parties. In the U.S., two mega political parties are in competition: the Democratic Party, the Democrats, and the Republican Party, the Republicans. The most important difference between the two parties is ideology. The Democratic Party is a progressive party that values welfare, equality, labor, and human rights, while the Republican Party is a conservative party that values growth, liberty, and national interests. These differences also determine the direction of policy. The issue of corporate tax. Let's take a simple example. President Trump of the Republican Party lowered the maximum corporate tax rate, tax payable by companies, from 35% to 21% in 2017, and Biden of the Democratic Party has pledged to raise this back to 28%. The difference is whether to lower the corporate tax and secure freedom for enterprise activities, economic liberty, or whether to raise the corporate tax and finance other social securities or environmental policies, welfare and equality. Environmental policy. A highly controversial decision that President Trump made was withdrawing the U.S. from the Paris Agreement. The Paris Agreement calls for each country to set their own goals to reduce greenhouse gas emissions before the international community and to verify their implementation. The Trump administration sought to lighten the burden of the U.S. economy by withdrawing from the agreement. Biden pledged that the U.S. will return to the Paris Agreement on his first day as president. The Republicans value economic growth and the protection of American industries over environmental protection, and the Democrats put more emphasis on the harmony between industrial activity and environmental protection. The issue of health insurance. Democrats and Republicans also continue to conflict on their perspectives on Obamacare, which is a healthcare reform that was implemented during the Obama administration. The reform mandates people with low income who were not previously able to join health insurance to join Obamacare, and imposes fines if they do not. It's a policy that reduces the cost of health care for people with low income, but it costs a lot of money to maintain. The Republicans oppose it, fearing the economic side effects, while the Democrats insist on expanding Obamacare. We only dealt with 3 issues today, but Democrats and Republicans are split on many different political issues, such as immigration policies, human rights, and restrictions on firearms. Knowing the nature of each party, it is easier to predict what kind of choices the winning party of the 2020 presidential election will make.